Thank you so much for joining us and agreeing to sharing your journey. I'm sure you're going to touch a lot of people and help a lot of people feel that they can relate. And so it's very important that you have decided to do this with us.
No problem at all. It's my pleasure.
I would like to start just by asking, how did this whole journey start? When did you start trying to conceive? If you could give us a little bit of a
Of
backstory.
course, yeah. So we've been together with my husband since 2013, and then 2016 we've decided that it's time to start to expand our family. And obviously, we always think that once you start, it's gonna happen straight away. And this is actually what happened with us. So in a few months' time, I was pregnant. It was even around Christmas time, and I had all the positive tests and everything. But then obviously in 2 weeks' time, the dreams crashed and I ended up in A&E in England. So they said it's a chemical pregnancy, so it won't progress. And so we said, okay, that's fine, one failure, so it won't like pull us back. And then we started trying and trying and trying. Then it was already like a year, and I decided to just contact the GP. And my plan was to try with IUI, with insemination, because I thought it's like straightforward thing. They get the sperm, they insert, and you're pregnant within a month. And then the GP said, so it doesn't work that way. I'm gonna refer you for IVF. And when I heard IVF, I was like, oh, that's fine. As long as the wait is not too long, I was quite happy with it. And then it took like 6-7 months with the initial tests and everything. We picked a clinic here in England. It's called, maybe I shouldn't mention the name of the clinic anyway. So we had like two collections with the clinic here, 3 transfers. They all implanted, but they were chemical pregnancies. So we didn't know, what the problem is. So we just carried on trying and trying. We tried with the clinic in Turkey. Then in between, I was pregnant twice naturally, which ended up in miscarriages again. So it's been like stuck in a limbo ever since then. So it's been like 9 years already.
Okay, so how many rounds did you do in the UK?
So I had 2 egg collections. The first one, even though I have polycystic ovaries and I had plenty of follicles, they managed to get only 4 eggs, and none of them survived past day 2. Then I had a second egg collection here in the UK. I had 30 plus follicles. They got 7 eggs only, and we ended up with 3-day 5 embryos. They were quite good quality, but all of them implanted, but ended in chemical pregnancies.
How did this all shift to you deciding that we need to make a change? How did it continue from there on? How did you decide to leave your clinic? What were the factors that played a role in changing?
The factor that played a role is because obviously we had the treatment on the NHS, so we didn't pay anything for it. And this was the time when I started researching. I was getting ideas from different people, and the doctor was quite reluctant to try the ideas that I had, even though we wanted to pay privately for more testing. And then once the NHS funding was like done, my doctor had these brilliant ideas, which would have costed us like over £25,000. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then because my husband is Turkish, we decided to try with a clinic in Turkey. So we found a clinic in Turkey. I had treatment there with them as well. Then I had a better outcome there, to be honest. I had 22 eggs taken out. We had 6-day 5 embryos, quite good quality. And then I had 3 transfers in total, both with 2 embryos. The first one was twin pregnancy, which I lost at 6 weeks. Second one was single pregnancy, which I lost at 6 weeks again. And the third one was, again, twin pregnancy, which I lost at between 6 and 7 weeks. Is always the same time anyway.
So you went through a lot of pregnancies that weren't able to reach term.
Yeah. And I had, we did quite some genetic testing. We did some immune testing. I had intralipids, I had aspirin, I had Clexane, I can't even remember anymore, what I had. It was just like, they call it, I think, the bucket something, when they just throw everything they can at you to see if anything will make difference. Still, we saw a bit of a difference, because the pregnancies, they carried on a bit more than before, but still, it wasn't the right approach to our case.
So I'm guessing, I mean, obviously this is a very difficult, stressful, tiring time. Do you feel that?
Very.
Yeah. Would you like to talk a little bit about that? How
Yeah,
it
yeah,
feels?
of course, I don't mind at all. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, you're just feeling sometimes you're like stuck. Your life is all about IVF and nothing else. That's all you can think about. And you're actually like forgetting to live your life, because it's like your life is like defined by from transfer to transfer, from loss to loss. You're always like, what else can I do? What else can I do? What am I missing? Am I doing something wrong? And then when everyone around you is having a baby after a baby after a baby, and you're like, what's wrong with me? Why is this happening to me? But actually, it's not your fault, and there is nothing you can do because obviously you are in some way of control of your body, but until one point, and then what happens after this point, you can't really change it. There is nothing you can do better or worse. So,
Do you feel like
eh.
it affected your relationships? Did you feel differently in certain relationships, either with friends, family?
Not from my side, to be honest, because I'm always, a person that I want to be involved in people's lives. And, when they have babies, I'll buy presents, I'll go and play with the babies. I never had problem being around children. But I think some people thought that, because I have a problem having a child, they tried to distance themselves because they thought I might be feeling bad, being around their children, which had more negative impact on me than the IVF and my problem. So that's why I try to explain to everyone that, having problem having a child, it doesn't mean that I can't be around children. With me, it's actually the opposite thing, being around children makes me feel better.
Yeah, that's interesting. I
Because
mean, I feel like for a lot of people, it could be the other way around.
yes, for many people it's the other way around, and I've met lots of women that they just can't stand looking at a baby because they can't have their own.
So your difficulty came from when you felt that people were trying to protect you
Yes.
from, but that just made you feel worse in the end.
Yeah, it's like, one of the worst things was like my best friend, she didn't tell me she was pregnant until she was 3 months pregnant. And well, actually, it was, I even remember the day, it was Easter, we were sitting, on the sofa in my house, and she was like, oh, I have to tell you something. I was like, you're pregnant, aren't you? And then she just burst out crying. She was like, I'm so sorry. I said, what are you sorry for, People won't stop having babies because I can't have one yet.
Of course, but again, as I said, I think a lot of women struggle with hearing these news, seeing,
Yeah,
and so I
definitely.
feel it's important to educate people around us to be aware of how to bring these topics up and how to,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
So that is how you basically decided to then go abroad, was because your husband is from Turkey, you decided to start treatment now in Turkey, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And then for the first two transfers, we had an amazing doctor. He was listening, he was really involved, and he was like always trying to reassure me, find ideas with me and things like that. But then he left the clinic, and we got to have a new doctor who was like, she had all these big promises and all these big words. And by the time my transfer day came, she didn't remember any of it. And, once I started, miscarrying that pregnancy, the only thing she said is like, okay, just stop the medication, and that was it. She didn't say, "Oh, would you like to talk about it? Would you like to, make new plans? Would you like any advice or anything like that?" She just like left me there hanging. I mean, I didn't expect her to come back and say, "Oh, you'll be all right" and things like that, but just like, like be more supportive, from her side, as a doctor to say, "Oh, look, just relax, try to get better, and then we can sit down and talk." She didn't even do that. So I was like, that's it. When you have one failure, I always give chance, and because I know that you just have to work together to find a way. But then when you see the opposite side, it's like doesn't care at all,
It's
and
important to
doesn't
have
want to
that
have the
support
conversations.
from your
Yeah,
doctor as well.
yeah. So this is when I decided I was done with them. I want do another treatment with them, and I gave myself quite some time, to recover from everything. We had a really nice long holiday with my husband, and then Dunya was keep, coming out in like on Facebook, on Instagram, and then I met a couple of friends that, they were with the clinic itself, and I just decided, let me see now what they have to offer.
Yeah, of course. So after you were done with Turkey, was your next stop Cyprus then?
Yeah, I didn't plan, to be honest. It just happened. I just saw it online, and I didn't actually research any other clinics in Cyprus. I just, contacted Dunya, and then my coordinator, she got back to me, and then how to stay, we just hit it off with her, and she was amazing, and she's still amazing. She always, checks on me. She's always like there when I need something.
You are listening to the Dunya IVF Clinic podcast, From Hope to Happiness. To learn more about IVF treatments, visit our website www.dunyaivf.com and download our ebook, A Complete Guide to Assisted Reproduction.
So you were in Turkey, and then how many years in are we now? So right when you got to Dunya, how many years had you been undergoing treatment?
So we started with Dunya 20. So I first contacted Dunya in 2023 in December.
Okay.
So this is when I got I filled the form online, and then Daniela got back to me with an email, and we just had a chat, and then we just started the ball rolling. So it's been 7 years into the trying to conceive journey.
Yeah. So how has your experience changed ever since starting at Dunya? How do you feel? Do you see any
So I
major
think
differences?
it's a good thing to mention that, when I started with Dunya, it was the point where I decided to try donor eggs.
And was that a difficult decision to make? So,
Not at all.
okay.
I mean, for me, it's important. I want to have a child. I want to have a baby. So, of course, genetics are important, but they're not the most important thing here.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, I've tried with my own eggs. I've tried like 6 transfers with my own eggs, and then the same thing was happening over and over again. I've been pregnant naturally 3 times with my own eggs, and it didn't work. So I was like, why not, try with eggs from a younger woman who's healthy, who's been looking after herself. And obviously I was already 35 years old. So I thought, why not give it a try? And to be honest, it wasn't a difficult decision at all. It made me look forward to trying again with this hope you've got, with this new hope, with this new outlook of things. It wasn't a difficult decision at all.
So has this happened? Like, have you gone through a round with donor eggs?
Yes, I did go through a couple.
Okay. So you've already done a couple of rounds with donor eggs.
Yeah, so basically it was January last year when Daniela sent me the options for donors, and I chose the donor. Then we came to Cyprus at the end of March last year, and we had 2, 4, 6, 8 good grade embryos on day 5. I had a fresh transfer last year. At the end of April, I think it was the fresh transfer, and I got pregnant with twins again. I also had 2 embryos transferred. I got pregnant with twins, but then one of them stopped developing at week 6. The other one stopped developing at week 7, and I had this time last year I had the vacuum procedure to remove the embryos. And the good thing was we were able to send them for genetic testing to see if the issue was with the embryos, but they came back like healthy embryos. So the problem wasn't with the embryos.
Okay, I see. And so how are you now? Where are we now that we're talking? What phase are you in this whole journey?
So maybe it's good to mention that after this loss last year, I had immune testing. I had a hysteroscopy just, to check if things were okay. And then everything came back normal. And then I had another double transfer this year as well.
With donor eggs?
Yeah, with my embryos that are frozen on Dunya. So the embryos are with donor eggs and with my husband's sperm. So
Are you making any lifestyle changes now? Anything different than you did
I
the
mean, I
last?
always make lifestyle changes. I always try to prepare my body as much as possible, obviously with the healthy eating, being more active, with you know how it is. Everybody, we've got like in the IVF communities, we've got a list of things that we follow, especially a few months before the transfer. That, we are trying to prepare ourselves. So for the moment, we've got another 4 embryos left frozen. I've spoken with Dr. Alter, and we have made like a new treatment plan for my next embryo transfer with new medication that we can try and see if it's going to help maintain the pregnancy for longer time, hopefully to term.
Regarding healthcare in more general terms, would you say that you've noticed differences in the way you were treated, in the way just things were run? Since you have tried IVF in 3 different places, and countries, have you noticed a difference in how healthcare works, basically?
I mean, yeah, with Dunya, everything was really nice, easy and smooth journey. The clinic was like very clean, very well looked after. Everything was organized very well. When you got to the theater for the embryo transfer and everything is just like by the book, if I can say like that. And then also with like recovery after they let they've got everything is like just really well organized
And how do you
and you're
feel
very well
about,
looked after.
you mentioned your coordinator.
Daniela.
Yes.
Yeah, her name is Daniela Blaine. She's the English coordinator. She's amazing. I mean, I can't speak highly enough of her.
How is your relationship throughout treatment?
Amazing. She's always there for me, even on a Sunday, a Sunday at lunchtime, she'll be checking on me, when I have the bleeding, and things like that. She'll always checking on me, how I'm feeling. She was like, you send her a message and then she'll be like, back to you as soon as possible. She's very responsive, she's very caring and very professional at the same time. So I think that's a very important connection, between your doctor, between the clinic and you, and it's very important to have the right person.
If you were to explain to someone what this coordinator does, what role does she have in this whole process? If you would like to explain it to someone who doesn't know, who hasn't had a coordinator before in IVF.
I mean, she's like the glue between the doctor and the patient. She's the one who helps build the relationship because you're not always able to contact directly to the doctor. So she's the glue that, brings everything together. I think the best way I can describe, what the coordinator does. And it's very important that you've got the right person, and it's very important that you actually trust them and rely on them in some ways.
So you would say that they're kind of like a guide in both practical and emotional support, maybe?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, and she was always like, when I have questions, she's like, oh, let me just, go get to the doctor and I'll get back to you as soon as possible, which always didn't take long anyway.
Well, it's really nice to hear that there's, a support system basically that helps connect you to your doctor as well as helping you just understand what's going on. I think it's super important that something like that exists.
Definitely.
Now we know you're going through a new round. When do you plan on having your...
Not just yet, probably in a few months' time, maybe November or January latest, something like that. So I want to give my body enough time to like properly recover, have a nice long holiday that I'm like mentally recovered as well, if I can say it
Of
that way
course,
as
very
well.
important. How big of a gap will there have been if you have your round in November? When was your last round?
So my last round was in March this year.
So you're taking about spring, summer, and a little bit of fall
Yeah.
off to
When I
recuperate.
first started, I thought 3 months is enough gap, but I don't think 3 months is enough gap if you have experienced like a proper miscarriage, if you've gone through, because it takes at least a couple of months for the body to physically recover, and at least 3 months for your hormones to go back to normal. So I think something like 5, 6 months at least is a good gap you can, give yourself to fully recover.
So I have a question regarding what is keeping you now at Dunya? What is keeping you from trying something else, or how come you're deciding to continue your journey with Dunya?
I think it's one of the main things is that they've never given me false promises. They never use the big words. Yeah, 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 we will do it. We will do it. What the doctor said, look, your case is a gray area, but we can work together and we can find a way to achieve success. And I have a doctor back home in Bulgaria he is not an IVF doctor. He's just a diagnostic, so he helps you with advices of what you can try. And Dr. Alper is happy with the recommendations that are given by my doctor. We discussed them together. He explains to me, why he would agree to use it or why he wouldn't agree to use this approach. I like the thing that they actually listen to you and they listen to the concerns you've got, they listen to your ideas, and they would always come back and explain why is good or why is not good. So I just like working in partnership.
A lot of good
Yeah.
communication, trust.
Definitely, yes.
Wonderful. So I have one last question, unless you have
Of course,
something
yeah.
would like to share. I guess just if you had any advice to someone who's going through the same things you're going through, the same journey, the same issues, what would your advice be?
Remember that, you are the most important thing in the whole situation, and your mental health, physical health is like the most important thing. You don't forget to live your life, go on holidays, read a book, chill out with friends, and try not to focus on IVF only, because just life goes on and then we're just missing so much if we just think about IVF and nothing else. And I always say that, this is something that, it can be fixed. We can find a way to have a baby. There's so many things, in this life that, people can't fix. There's wars, there's terminal illnesses, there's so many things going on around us that, people can't fix them. They can't find a way. But with our cases, it is difficult. It's heartbreaking. But you know, there is always a way. Sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes it takes 5. Sometimes it takes 10. I've met women that they've been doing this for 15 years and they're still there. They're still fighting, but they're also living their life.
Yeah.
So just live your life.
Yeah, I think that's.
Don't forget to live it.
Thank you. Well, Rosie, thank you so much for joining
No
us,
problem at all.
sharing your story. We wish you all of the best.
We can catch up maybe once I have a baby again. Maybe.
Yes, we would love that. We would love to catch up again. So yes,
Yeah,
please
lovely to meet
make sure
you.
to send us any good updates. We would love to talk again
Yeah, we'll
soon.
keep you posted.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Rosie. It's such a pleasure meeting
No
you.
problem at all. Nice to meet you. Bye.
Bye.